Imagine for a fleeting moment that you are entirely unmoored from the world of light. You are suspended in the absolute, crushing void of the open ocean. High above you, the faint, comforting glimmer of the sun has been swallowed completely by the depths, leaving you engulfed in a suffocating, ink-black darkness that feels almost solid to the touch. The water surrounding your fragile body is freezing, hovering just above the point of turning to ice, and the silence is so profound, so heavy, that it rings in your ears. Suddenly, you feel it, long before your brain can process the sound. A physical, devastating blow against your chest, identical to the invisible shockwave of an exploding star. This terrifying, invisible force is not a geological event. It is not an underwater earthquake or the eruption of a deep-sea volcano. It is a voice. A sound so unfathomably loud, so concentrated in its sheer acoustic violence, that if you were swimming directly next to its source, the energy of the acoustic wave would vibrate your vital organs to the point of a fatal rupture, literally boiling the water around it for a fraction of a millisecond. You are in the physical presence of the loudest biological sound ever recorded on the face of this planet. Yet, the creature producing this devastating, rhythmic, echoing click is not some mindless, brutal leviathan born only for destruction. Behind that impenetrable wall of sonic annihilation lies the single largest, most complex brain that has ever existed in the entire sweeping history of Earth. A brain that is 6 times heavier than your own, heavily convoluted, intensely wrinkled, and pulsing with an ancient, alien intelligence we are only just beginning to comprehend. This presents the ultimate paradox that has baffled marine biologists, neurologists, and evolutionary scientists for centuries. Why would nature invest the immense, unimaginable biological energy required to build a literal supercomputer of flesh and blood, only to plunge it into the freezing, crushing, absolute darkness of the ocean's abyss? What is this magnificent creature doing down there in the perpetual dark? And, far more importantly, what on earth is it thinking? To even begin to unravel this profound mystery, we must leave our brightly lit world behind and follow them down into the nightmare zone. We must journey down past the twilight zone, plunging 2,000, 3,000, and even 4,000 meters beneath the surface of the rolling waves. At these terrifying, sunless depths, the physical laws of our world as we know them seem to collapse entirely. The pressure here is not just heavy, it is violently, actively crushing. It is a physical force so unimaginably immense that it would instantly crumple the thick, reinforced titanium hull of a state-of-the-art military submarine as easily as you might crush a discarded foil wrapper in your fist. There is no natural light here. None. It is a realm of eternal night. Yet, our Leviathan descends into this hellish environment completely effortlessly. This is not a zone of mere survival for them. This is their undisputed, sovereign domain. Down in the absolute black of the midnight zone, they do not just endure the dark, they rule it with absolute, terrifying supremacy. They are the ultimate biomechanical war machines of the deep ocean, specifically and perfectly evolved over millions of years to hunt the most elusive, bizarre, and nightmarish phantoms that haunt our planet. The giant and colossal squids. These are not the small creatures you see near the surface. We are talking about massive invertebrates with unblinking, saucer-like eyes the size of large dinner plates, specifically adapted to absorb any stray photon of bioluminescence. They possess massive, muscular tentacles, heavily armed with razor-sharp, swiveling hooks and serrated suckers designed to violently tear through dense flesh. We, as humans, have almost never witnessed these brutal, abyssal battles with our own eyes. The Midnight Zone keeps its secrets incredibly well. But the undeniable, gruesome evidence of these clashes is written in scarred flesh. The skin of these massive whales is a living, breathing tapestry of sheer violence. Their huge, square heads are heavily scarred with perfect, pale circles and deep, jagged gouges from desperate, thrashing tentacles fighting for survival in the pitch black. They are apex predators in the truest sense of the word, navigating a pitch-black arena to engage in titanic, life-or-death struggles that completely defy our surface-dwelling imagination. Every single dive is a descent into a gladiatorial arena where the stakes are absolute. But a glaring question remains: how do they consistently win in a world entirely devoid of light? How do they even find these silent, soft-bodied, ghost-like prey in an endless, echoing, three-dimensional void? The answer to this seemingly impossible biological challenge lies hidden inside that massive, seemingly disproportionate head. It is a structure so vast, so heavy, that it takes up a full third of the creature's entire body mass. If you could somehow strip away the incredibly thick layers of protective blubber, the dense connective tissue, and the thick muscle, you would not find a solid, traditional bone skull like that of any land mammal. Instead, you would uncover a breathtaking masterpiece of biological and acoustic engineering, known to science as the spermaceti organ. This immense, barrel-shaped biological cavity dominates the front of the whale, and it contains up to 2,000 litres of a strange, highly prized, completely clear golden oil. For centuries, humans had absolutely no idea what this massive reservoir of oil was actually for. Early whalers absurdly assumed it was some bizarre reproductive fluid, a profound misconception which earned the magnificent animal its somewhat crude and enduring historical name. But the truth of its evolutionary function is far more astonishing than any maritime myth. When the whale takes a deep breath at the surface and prepares to make its terrifying descent, it flushes freezing seawater through a complex, intricate network of nasal passages. This rushing cold water dramatically cools the golden oil, rapidly changing its state from a warm liquid into a dense, heavy, cloudy, solid wax. This sudden, dramatic shift in anatomical density acts as a biological anchor. It perfectly alters the whale's buoyancy, allowing the massive animal to drop like a stone into the abyss, plummeting thousands of meters without expending a single precious calorie of swimming effort. It is a masterclass in energy conservation. But that is merely a secondary, almost accidental function. The true, primary evolutionary purpose of the spermaceti organ is to act as a colossal biological acoustic lens. When the whale generates a powerful click in its nasal passages, the sound fiercely bounces off the thick, parabolic shape of the skull behind the organ. The sound wave then travels forward through the density of the wax lens and is perfectly, immaculately focused into a tightly directional beam of pure sonic energy. It is, without a shadow of a doubt, the most sophisticated and powerful sonar system in the known universe. It is capable of scanning the deep ocean with such breathtaking, surgical precision that it can detect the soft, squishy, entirely silent texture of a squid's body from kilometers away. They are literally seeing with sound, tearing through the impenetrable darkness with acoustic light. And yet, the very moment we confidently classify them merely as perfect, cold-blooded, solitary hunting machines, the entire scientific paradigm completely and irreversibly shifts. Because the deeper we listen to the ocean, the more we meticulously analyze these thousands of recorded clicks with modern technology, the more we realize a staggering, world-altering truth. These clicks are not just for hunting in the dark. They are talking. For centuries, we have arrogantly imagined them as cold, lonely monsters of the deep, wandering the abyss in tragic isolation. But in reality, they exist in one of the most highly emotional, deeply connected, and unbelievably complex societies on planet Earth. They do not live alone. They live their entire lives in deeply bonded, matriarchal families, led by incredibly wise, ancient grandmothers, while the grown males eventually leave to wander the globe. These family units do not just group together for a brief mating season. They stay tightly knit for decades, sometimes 50 or 60 years. They fiercely and violently protect each other from danger, forming defensive rings around the vulnerable. They actively babysit each other's young calves near the surface, so the mothers can dive deep to feed. And most profoundly, they have been observed mourning their dead, carrying lifeless calves for days in a heartbreaking, undeniable display of profound emotional grief. But the ultimate revelation, the definitive answer to why nature painstakingly built a brain so inconceivably vast, lies hidden within the specific, rhythmic patterns of their underwater conversations. Over decades of painstaking research, marine acousticians and behavioral scientists have discovered that these massive animals communicate using precise, repeating sequences of clicks called coders. And here is the undeniable, paradigm-shattering fact that will fundamentally change how you look at the ocean forever. These coders are not just basic, instinctive animal noises indicating simple hunger, mating readiness, or fear. They are a highly complex, deeply structured language. Researchers tracking pods across the globe have realized that different families, even those swimming in the same waters, have entirely different, distinct dialects. When two completely separate family groups meet in the vast, featureless emptiness of the Pacific Ocean, they do not fight, and they do not ignore each other. They announce themselves. They use specific, unique click patterns that act exactly like family surnames. They literally have individual names for each other. They have distinct regional accents, just like humans from different countries. But the scientific rabbit hole goes even deeper than dialects. Because they pass these specific, complex linguistic patterns down from generation to generation, deliberately and patiently teaching the young calves how to speak their specific clan's language over years of careful instruction, this behavior meets the strict, uncompromising scientific definition of culture. Animals with culture. The supercomputer housed in their massive heads is not just a biological aiming mechanism for their deadly sonar. It is the necessary biological hardware, the sheer processing power required to maintain a vast, intergenerational, pan-oceanic social network. They are constantly transmitting cultural knowledge, specific survival tactics, ancient migratory routes, and their very identities across the dark, freezing void of the ocean. The grandmothers hold the knowledge of where to find food during years of famine, and they pass this encyclopedic knowledge to the next generation through their intricate language. They are not just surviving in the ocean, they are experiencing it, communicating about it, and building a shared cultural heritage that spans centuries. Imagine the sheer cognitive capacity required to remember the voices, the relationships, and the hierarchical status of hundreds of different individuals encountered over a lifespan that can stretch up to 70 years. Their massive brains possess an intensely developed neocortex, the area associated with conscious thought, future planning, and deep emotional intelligence, structurally far more complex than anything found in primates. They are not merely reacting to their environment, they are consciously reflecting upon it. For decades, humanity has spent billions upon billions of dollars building massive, sprawling arrays of radio telescopes. We point these colossal satellite dishes up at the cold, empty silence of the stars, desperately and intensely searching for any fleeting sign of extraterrestrial intelligence. We yearn, deeply and existentially, to find a mind equal to or greater than our own. A species capable of forming culture, building complex language, and sharing the unbearable burden of consciousness in a lonely, infinite universe. We looked up into the cosmos for so long that we never stopped to realize that a profound, highly advanced alien intelligence has been sharing this very planet with us all along, swimming just beneath the surface of the crashing waves. And what did we do when we first encountered this magnificent, ancient culture? The profound tragedy of our shared history is almost too heavy for the human conscience to bear. We did not attempt to speak to them. We did not try to listen to their beautiful mathematical songs. We relentlessly and mercilessly slaughtered them by the hundreds of thousands. We enthusiastically drove the greatest, most complex minds on Earth to the very brink of complete annihilation. And for what? We harvested the precious golden oil from their miraculous acoustic lenses, merely to light our cobblestone street lamps and to lubricate the tiny, insignificant gears of our pocket watches. We literally burned their ancient, beautiful culture to relentlessly fuel our industrial revolution. Today, as their shattered, traumatized populations slowly attempt to recover in a changing, warming ocean, they continue to dive into the crushing, freezing dark. Their immense, powerful clicks continue to echo for thousands of kilometers across the abyssal plains, a persistent heartbeat in the dark. As they pass their ancient, rhythmic dialects from wise grandmother to newborn calf, as they rebuild their shattered societies, one cannot help but pause and wonder. In the vast, deep, unwritten libraries of their collective memory, when they sing their long, tragic histories into the absolute dark, do they tell terrifying stories about us? Do they remember the wooden ships and the explosive harpoons that fell from the sky, decimating their families and silencing their ancient songs? The ocean is vast, and its memory is deep. The next time you look out over the dark, restless expanse of the sea, remember that beneath those waves, the greatest minds on Earth are speaking to each other. They are out there, right now, clicking in the dark, maintaining a culture far older than humanity itself, waiting for us to finally, truly listen.